After his first spar, Ippo got accepted into the Kamogawa boxing gym. On his first day, he real nervous to go inside the gym for the first time. He thinking, it's finally time to lock in. I ain't putting all that work, all that effort, just to be scared. That's actually crazy. He like, my bad, bro. You just look a little tense. That's the classic boxing stress reliever. All the pros do it. And his mans in the back is like, yeah. And Ippo's actually falling for these niggas trolls. I called these two NPCs in my last review, but let me go ahead and put a little respect on their names. Their names are Aoki and Kimura. Both boxers also in the KBG, which is the gym that Ippo's joining. They like, did this really believe us? Oh, we about to have a blast with him. So Ippo walks in and is like, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? He doing his introductions and meets Mr. Yagi. Yagi starts explaining what his training program is about to be, but Aoki and Kimura step up out of nowhere and say, don't even worry about it, Yagi. We gonna take him under our wing. He gonna be just fine. Yagi like, hold on now. We ain't say you could do all that. But they already taking him up to start his quote unquote training. So as they're walking downstairs, Takamura pop out. He like, hey nephew, you made it. What you doing with these bum man? Yagi like, perfect timing. They about to take your nephew to do his training. I tried to stop him, but they just won't listen. He like, Yagi, you know I got you, boy. After all, I'ma be the one training Ippo. And they all just look at him like, this really? Apparently Takamura crazy. He crazy in the head. So ain't nobody expect him to be training him. So Takamura, Aoki, and Kimura all get into about who's about to train Ippo. Either them or him. And that's when Gramps pop out the cut. He like, I'm your coach now. Look, go get changed. So he filling up on his muscles, pause, and he like, yeah, real good, and throwing right into the ring for some mid punching. Everybody like, damn, he putting on gloves already? What Gramps got him doing? So Ippo starts his punches and he like, damn, this look kinda nice. He teaches him what a 1-2 punch is as Takamura, Aoki, and Kimura just watching him. They looking on. Ippo's doing good on his punches, but he's starting to get fatigued, which is only natural for a newbie, but he actually completes the first round. Which as a newbie, that's great, but he is tired and Gramps is telling him that that's the length of one standard round, so he better get used to it. But even though he's tired, Gramps go ahead starts round 2. Everybody like, whoa, we already started round 2? He's not gonna be able to do it. But Ippo's able to keep on punching. Just a testament to his will and his stamina. As Ippo's practicing his punches, guess who walks into the gym? The same kid who knocked him out last time in his first spar, Miyata. He's shocked to see that Ippo's in his gym and Gramps peeps that. He like, these some good punches, son. Shit, you probably would have knocked Miyata out if you would have landed one of them, knowing that Miyata could hear him. But Ippo's like, it don't really matter if I could knock him out if I can't hit him in the first place. But Gramps is like, now that you training with me, you're gonna be on this level in about 3 months, knowing that was gonna make Miyata mad. So not only is Miyata mad that he said that, but Ippo's starting to get embarrassed now too. Gramps, of course, doing this on purpose to motivate Miyata, but also to test if Ippo had the guts to really go through with it. He gets in Ippo's face talking about he's got the strength and stamina to throw continuous, strong punches. And if he's able to refine his punches and ability, he'll be able to beat any amount of good technique. At the end of the day, it's power that wins boxing matches. He asked Ippo if he really wants to get to Miyata's level and even be able to get to the point where he could whoop on him. Ippo's like, yeah, of course. Then Miyata look out the corner of his eye, give him a little death stare, and Ippo automatically started apologizing, embarrassed that he even said that out loud. Next time we see Ippo is at the crib. He's so excited about boxing that he can't even sleep. So the next day, we see Coach in the ring with Ippo. He like, today, I'm gonna teach you the perfect form for an uppercut. And everybody's shocked, everybody's surprised. He's like, you gotta bend your knees and lean forward, keep your arm close to your side, and keep your knuckles facing down. That's important, you gotta keep your knuckles facing down. Then, you stretch out your knees as far as you can and use the momentum of your body to thrust your fist upwards. So Ippo's like, all right, let me lock in. And he goes through all the steps, launching his first uppercut, but he misses the pad. He's embarrassed, but everybody else is amazed. Later on, we see Takamura, Aoki, and Kimura doing their road work, and they just chanting about Ippo's punch. His arms, knees, and toes were straight. The perfect form for an uppercut. Takamura says a poorly developed lower body wouldn't be able to do that, but Ippo's been doing his thing. So Gramps gives Ippo a little bit of props and says he wants him to practice that uppercut for the next 3 months and that he can't wait for his rematch with Miyata. Next day, Ippo is told by Gramps to shadow box because he's heading out of town, but he has to figure out how. So he's trying to figure out what shadow boxing even is. So he's watching somebody in the ring doing his little thing, doing his shadow boxing, and he like, oh, so I gotta visualize my opponent and pretend to fight when he's not even there, just for practice. So he give it a shot. He try and visualize Miyata's movements, but he can't figure out how. He's stuck on this for a little while, even at home when he's troubled, and he thinks about giving up. But a reminder to his time with the leaves and how he almost gave up then reminds him to stay strong and persevere. So he focuses on Miyata while he's at the gym. trying to replicate his movements and figure out how he's supposed to box him. After a while of watching him very closely, he's able to see Miyata's punch, which he wasn't able to do before. So not only is he amazed that he can see it now, he's even more amazed at Miyata's punch because he could really tell what's going on. We could tell Ippo's leveling up when he runs into these doodoo shirt bullies from last episode, but instead of backing down, he's like, I'm busy, gotta go, and sprints past them. They try and follow him, but they can't even catch up. And that night at the gym, he finally gets it down. He's able to capture Miyata's shadow. He's shadow boxing, weaving in and out, but when he tries to counter, he does this funky ass little hop. So next episode, we see him continuing to struggle to shadow box versus Miyata. He go ahead and asks the chief for help. He like, Gramps, I'm able to capture his shadow now, but I just can't seem to win. How do I win against this? So Chief is like, watch closely. And Chief just started running around looking crazy. I don't know what he moving like. I don't know how this was supposed to help Ippo and help him figure out what to do. Like, this is crazy. But finally, Ippo gets the point that Gramps was trying to make. Ippo was struggling to shadow box versus Miyata because every time he imagined himself getting countered, ultimately losing. But the point that Gramps was trying to make was that if he doesn't run in, then he can't get countered. So he wants Ippo to wait Miyata out and then use his power to overwhelm him when Miyata gets impatient and rushes in. So they go back to mids again, and we see some old sitting down watching from the bench. When Ippo finishes his little session with Gramps, he goes and sits down on that exact same bench. Miyata walks in and starts walking up towards Ippo. He gets happy thinking that Miyata was gonna go over and talk to him on some friendly shit, but he walks up to the old man instead. Turns out, dude is Miyata's dad. And I know that Miyata is technically the last name, so they have the same last name. They're both Miyata, but I'm gonna call the young one Miyata because that's what we know him as. And we're gonna call the old dude Miyata's dad. So later on, we see Gramps and Miyata's dad watching Ippo hit the heavy bag, and they start talking about his potential. Gramps asks Miyata's dad if Miyata's been training well, and he admits that Miyata's been training a little more intensely recently, probably due to Ippo's introduction at the gym. This was Gramps' plan the entire time. When Ippo finishes his time with the heavy bag, we get this crazy shower scene that I don't even think I could show on YouTube. I don't want to lose my channel, bro. But basically, Takamura exposes Ippo's you know what to the whole gym in the showers. Kind of crazy. Later on, Ippo's talking with Takamura, and he gets told that he needs some new boxing shoes because the soles on his is all worn out, and if he boxing with old shoes, it's dangerous. He could fall, he could injure himself, and that's just no good. So the next thing we see, Ippo's at a sporting goods store trying to cop some new shoes, but he don't know the slightest thing as to what he needs. The clerk knows that he's clueless, he could tell, and recommends him this expensive ass pair. He talking about you get what you pay with boxing shoes, so the more you spend, the better shoes you gonna get. Ippo like, yeah, I don't know, it's a lot of money, but I'll trust your word. Turns out Miyata's in the same store at the same time shopping for some new gloves, and before Ippo wastes his money on those shoes, Miyata decides to be a real one and step in and stop it from happening. He like, this about to scam you, go ahead take these instead. And so Ippo buys the shoes, but before he even gets a chance to thank him, Miyata dips. So Ippo's running after him, calling his name, trying to thank him, offering the juice. He running over, he doing himself bad, he falls to the ground and the juice fall on the ground. He like, I don't want your juice, dude, leave me alone. But Ippo keeps calling after him, and he like, fine, damn, give me the juice. So they end up sitting on this hillside, and Ippo ends up asking Miyata a bunch of questions about his history with boxing and how it was being trained by his dad. Miyata talks about his dad's pro boxing career, how he is extremely agile and made up for his lack of power with his quick movements and high technical abilities. According to Miyata, he was a hell of a fighter. But during the last round of the Eastern Pacific title match, his opponent had landed a lucky ass punch and broke his jaw. Bro could have returned to the ring afterwards, but his whole mindset had changed. He had lost his belief that skill could beat raw power and told Miyata when he was young that at the end of the day, skill is always going to lose to raw power. But Miyata ain't want to believe it. He made it his mission from that day forward to prove to his father that skill could beat power and that his way of boxing wasn't wrong. So now we see his goal is to prove that right and to find a way to make up for his lack of strength with his skill, that being his counter. The next day, he talks to Gramps about strategy, and Ippo's not rocking with it no more. He's like, I don't want to run from Miyata. I want to fight and beat him head on. Chief's like, oh really? You want to do that now? You gonna have to boss up in every aspect, and don't say I ain't warned you. Y'all already know what time it is. Cue the training montage. We see him running, trying to keep up with Gramps on a motorcycle. We see him running up hills. He throwing up in the bathroom. He doing more training on the mitts, doing a reverse plank with Gramps on his core. I don't know what type of moves these is, but he's doing it all. He pulling tires, he doing everything. As times pass by, he's walking with Kimura and Takamura. Takamura takes him out to dinner for some noodles. Turns out, Aoki works there. They have a nice little dinner, but Ippo's upset. He's starting to think it's impossible to keep up the pace. But out the blue, he sees Miyata running, remembering his motivation, and that inspires him to train even harder. But this time, we seen him faring a lot better than originally. We starting to see the growth. So now we get to the day of the fight. Both fighters done prepped as much as they could, and Ippo's ready for it. He runs out of school when it's up. He gets home and he's in a hurry. He trying to get through his work mad fast, and his mom's like, go ahead, son. I'll take care of work from here. She could tell he's nervous from the spar though, and gives him a little advice from his father way back in the day, who was a fisherman, had told her. When your father was fighting an opponent, he said he used to think of them as a fish. He would think if he's scared of a fish, how could he possibly be a fisherman? And that cooled his nerves. So Ippo got a little laugh in. He feeling better. So he started running to the gym when all of a sudden, old girl on a bike rides by. He over there basking in her fragrance as she goes by. We can tell he's starting to go crazy about her. So at the gym, a journalist walks in asking Yagi if he could get an interview with Miyata. When he hears that Miyata's gonna be participating in a spar with the new face today, which instantly intrigues him. The journalist sees Ippo warming up and starts talking his shit immediately. He like, this is who he's gonna fight against? I don't know why, but I'm here for Miyata anyways. So the spar is about to begin and Takamura's reffing. There's 4 rounds, 3 knockdowns, no headgear. Ippo's nervous as hell. He's shaking and then he remembers the fish technique. But after looking at Miyata, he like, ain't no fish in the world that could be that handsome. So it's not working. But then coach pops up and the fish technique worked on him, giving Ippo another laugh and cooling his nerves. So coach is like, okay, I'm glad you're ready for the fight. And so it starts. The bell rings and Ippo rushes straight in, trying to close the distance. He's throwing punches on punches. The journalist thinks to himself, all right, not too bad for a new kid. But Miyata's footwork is on a different level. He's not landing anything. So Ippo's still throwing punches. And even though he's dodging everything, Miyata's like, okay, I'll give him some props. He way better than the last time. He's really been putting in the work. So Ippo is focusing on Miyata's footwork, trying to predict his movements. His first attempt, he failed to keep up with him, going the complete opposite way. But on his second attempt, after looking closely at his feet, he's able to keep up. Ippo's throwing more and more punches as the spectators on the side are like, whoa, Miyata never used that type of footwork. Is Ippo forcing him into doing things that he's not used to? And Miyata hears that, he's like, all right, now chill. Ippo's leaving his face exposed, so he goes for a punch straight in his noggin. But as the punch is being sent, Ippo has flashbacks to Gramps when he was on the mitts and ducks fast enough to dodge the punch, responding with a 1-2, sending Miyata right to the ground. Miyata's just as shocked as Ippo is. That was his first time landing a punch on somebody, and you know Gramps is looking proud with that little smiley giving. So everybody's stunned on the side, but Miyata gets back up. He like, alright, that was a little wake up call. It's time to play for real now. The fight goes back on and Chief just say to keep punching. So when Ippo goes in for another punch, Miyata's not going, and Ippo gets countered, sending him right to the ground. It's not looking good for my boy, but he shake it off like nothing ever happened. Miyata's like, damn, that punch is a little too shallow. I'ma get him next time. Ippo on the flip side like, damn, all my training with coach is really starting to pay off. Last time I thought I was going to die after that punch, but this time I can shake it off for real. So the round starts back up and they start going at it. Ippo forces himself into Miyata's space mad aggressively, throwing punches on and on and on. Ippo's doing his little dart and dash, trying to get a punch to connect, but if he slows down at all, he's gonna fall victim to another one of Miyata's counter punches. He finally misses one and Miyata sees an opening, but when the punch connects, it don't do any damage because Ippo forced himself into the punch while Miyata's elbow was still bent, so it didn't have any time to leverage the momentum up, and Ippo used that time to counterattack, knocking Miyata to the ground. Miyata's laying there on the ground as Takamura's counting, but he manages to get back up. Even though he might seem like he fine, the punches are really starting to weigh on him. This one, Ippo thinks he might actually have a chance to win, so he's like, let me lock in and get one good hit on him. Think it's time to go for the uppercut. So the round starts back up and they get straight to action. Miyata's trying to figure out what Ippo's gonna try and do. Ippo dodges a punch from Miyata, sees the opportunity for an uppercut, so he brings his fist in close to the side, starts extending his knees, and uses the momentum to swing straight upwards. So he swings, but Miyata dodges and counters the hell out of Ippo, sending him right back to the floor. He starts seeing crazy spinning, he all wobbly, he could barely hear correctly. He tries to get back up, but he falls right back down. Giving it his all, he manages to stand back up on 2 feet and it's like, yeah, I'm good to fight. We know he can't fight at this point, but he say he good to fight. But as the ref calls for the round to resume, the bell rings as it's the end of round 1. So Ippo's finally able to relax a little bit and he falls into coach's arms. Nobody really expected Ippo to do that well, especially the hating ass journalist that was in there. In his corner, he got Chief trying to talk him back up after that first round. They both took some crazy punches, but the fight's gotta continue. Miyata's in his corner getting pep talks from his pops. Miyata's like, damn, I gotta lock in. And Ippo is happy he already got 2 knockdowns. He like, Miyata, This great boxer is taking me seriously. I want to keep on fighting forever. So as the round starts, Ippo blitzes him. Miyata goes straight for the defensive and clinches onto him, which is just grabbing him so that he can regain some of his energy, and he does that for the entire second round. Lame if you ask me, but I see the vision, I see the strategy, the tactics. So now there's 2 rounds remaining, and when this round starts, we see Miyata's feeling better. He just got a whole new glare in his eyes. Ippo's thinking, damn, I'm kinda scared, but let me charge forward anyways. And when he does, Miyata pieces Ippo up real quick and gets out the way before Ippo can retaliate. With this method, he's not going to knock Ippo out, but he's going to keep on racking up damage and dodging everything else. Ippo's looking helpless at this point. His legs is trembling as he tries to step forward, but he can't. So Miyata rushes him and hits him twice with a final one right in the face, sending Ippo right to the ground. All Ippo can think about as he falls is that he want to keep fighting. The spectators start writing him off, like ain't no way my man's going to get back up. But my man's gets back up. Miyata's like, ain't no way. So when the round continues, Miyata's already running towards him, but the bell rings and the 3rd round ends. Miyata's pops is like, at this rate, you gon' win. But he gon' come back swinging with that uppercut, and Miyata's like, I'm already knowing. I got his movements mesmerized. If he tries it, I'ma whoop on him. On the other side, Grimps is using a Q-tip in Ippo's nose. Turns out it's bleeding so heavy, he could barely breathe, let alone should he be able to fight. He's like, if you go back out there, you just gonna be his punching bag. But Ippo's talking about, I done came too far to give up now. So they both go in and fight for the 4th round. As the 4th round starts, they both playing offensive. Ippo's trying to run, but Miyata stays with him. Miyata goes punching like crazy and Ippo's just blocking, trying to wait him out. It's not looking hot for my dog, and Miyata finally sees an opportunity to knock him out. When he goes for it, it looks like Ippo's gonna counter, and Miyata's like, I'm prepared for that. I'ma just dodge to the left. But then he realized Ippo's not going for a counter punch, but an uppercut. We see Ippo build up momentum to the punch and swing, but he misses by just a hair. Miyata's like, damn, I can't even predict him anymore. I gotta finish the job right now. So he swings towards Ippo. Ippo's like, I'm good. But as Miyata's swinging, he goes right past Ippo and falls to the ground. Turns out, Ippo's uppercut didn't miss, but just grazed the tip of Miyata's chin. Miyata's getting up, but he's struggling a little bit. He almost stands on 2 feet, but he falls right back to the ground. He's yelling to the ref that he could keep going, but he just can't stand up. My dog Ippo done finally won the rematch, giving him his first win in his young boxing career.